Hey guys, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. Look at how rusty this tool is. Let's see how we can get that rust off fast. See you right after this. Alright, so rust or oxidation is the enemy of all things tools. Here's an example of an extremely rusted or oxidated tool right here. In my last video on how to remove rust, I showed you how to submerge your tool in certain solutions that you would prepare to take the rust off. But in those cases, you had to wait a while before that even happened. And then after that, you still had to scrub to get the rust off. Here's an example of one of the tools that I did that with. And you still see the traces of oxidation embedded in the metal. Well, we're going to talk about a faster way to get that rust off, and that involves wire brush drill attachments. Now right here I have different wire brush attachments. You have a 1-inch wire brush attachment, then you have a 2-inch wire brush attachment, 3-inch, and then a 4-inch. Now these four here are what could be termed wire wheels, and you've probably seen them in a shop on a dedicated motorized wire wheel machine. These are just separate attachments that you can install in your drill. Now these two over here are called wire cup brushes because they look like cups. This is a 1-inch and this is a 2-inch. The max rated RPMs for these brushes is about 4,500 RPM. But we're going to attach these to a drill, and even on the second setting of the drill, the highest setting, the max RPM is around 2,500. So we're safe there. Back to our rust problem. Let's see how fast we can take that rust off. I'm going to install my 1-inch wire cup brush into the chuck of the drill. And you don't have to apply a lot of pressure, just lightly touch it and go over the surface of your tool here. Okay, we're getting some of the rust off. Alright guys, so we see it got the rust off, but the metal is still a little bit dark. This is the regular reddish oxidation that we usually see. But even after getting that off, we're still left with this darkened metal surface. That's not necessarily a bad thing. This actually is called black oxide. And it's a layer of oxide that's actually more stable than this kind of rust. This black oxide actually forms a protective layer of iron oxide on the metal. And it's also seen as giving the metal an aesthetic quality or a more appealing look. Let's go ahead and finish this up. Look at all that rust right there. Let's get that. Alright guys, I must admit this method is a lot quicker than the submerging it in baking soda or vinegar method, like I did in the last video on removing rust. Speaking of baking soda and vinegar, let's go ahead and mix that up and see how it works with the wire brush drill attachment. Got the vinegar right here. Look at how rusty that thing is. We're going to put our paste onto this, and then we're going to use our drill attachment. Let that sit there for a minute. Okay, so we're going to give our baking soda vinegar paste a few minutes to work itself into the metal. And while it's doing that, let's talk about what this is made of. Wire brushes can be made of 3 different types of material. It can be pure steel bristle brushes. Now, steel bristle brushes are stronger and they're better for cleaning harder material, metal surfaces I mean. But they can also rust. They can also cause sparks as well. Then you have brass bristle brushes. These are made of brass, and brass is a little softer and less likely to damage delicate surfaces. And they're also less likely to create sparks. So they're good for certain types of materials. Then you have brass coated bristle brushes, and that's just carbon steel with a brass coating. So you get the benefits of both worlds. It can protect your surface from rust by removing the rust, and it's not as abrasive as steel. Now the reason I bring this up is because brass does not rust, because it doesn't contain iron. And this brand of wire brush is brass coated. Reason I'm saying that is because we're gonna scrub this wet, moist vinegar paste off. So I'm just letting you know that it should not compromise this wire brush in terms of corrosion. So let's see what happens. All right, took that rust right off, didn't it? Got the rust off pretty quickly, didn't it? Okay guys, this is without the baking soda vinegar mixture, and this is with the baking soda vinegar mixture. Tell me guys what you think. What do you think? This one had a darker coat of iron oxide, or the black oxide on it. So let's see what happens if we put our baking soda and vinegar paste on the first tool. Okay guys, so this is with the baking soda and vinegar solution on the first tool. Let's compare that with the second tool. Is there a difference? There absolutely is a difference. It seems the baking soda and vinegar solution is a good addition to the wire brush wheel. So they're about the same now. You still got a little dark area right here, but all in all, they have about the same shine on them. If you really want to get that rust off, that oxidation off, I would use a solution along with the wire brush. All right, guys, so when it comes to restoring your rusty tools, or you just want to get rust off of something, go grab a wire wheel or a wire brush, stick it in a power drill, and you'll be surprised at how fast that rust comes off.